VSiN's, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show, only on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the VSiN Pro Football Tailgate Show, wherever you're watching, YouTube TV, iHeartRadio, the iHeartRadio app, or if you've got the Sunday Ticket package and you're watching us live on YouTube, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stormy Bonantoni alongside the MVP, Rich Gannon, and we welcome to the studio now CEO and owner of this fine establishment where we're broadcasting from, Circa Resort and Casino, Derek Stevens on the desk. My man, it has been complete and utter chaos in the NFL for the first 2 weeks, which means it has been chaos for Circa Survivor. My goodness, 73% of the field is gone.
Unbelievable. 10,300 Circa Survivors knocked out through week 2. But the pie has grown so much this year, there are still 3,878 live Circa Survivors that went into this week. So, if this is a week, let's just say this is a week that there are not a lot of entries that get knocked out, well, there'll be more people left in Circa Survivor after week 3 than there were in any Circa Survivor ever before. So it's just that this has grown so much. We're setting records every which way.
Dirk, speaking about records, what's the record for the earliest end of the Survivor pool? Look at what happened with the Patriots going on the road week 1 and knocking off Cincinnati. Who would have thought our Raiders would come from 10 behind to beat the Ravens on the road? It's just injuries are certainly a part of the equation as well. But how about the record for the earliest end to a Survivor pool?
Well, Rich, great question. But the reality is this. There has never been a Circa Survivor where it ended early. It goes the distance. We've done this now. This is Circa Survivor 5. And in the first 4 seasons, you had to go undefeated. Season 1, there were 35 contestants that went undefeated. And every year since then, it's been you've needed to have a record of 20-0. I don't necessarily know that changes this year, just because there's still 3,800 people going into week 3. Mm-hmm. Now Christmas is brutal. The holidays are going to be very, very tough. And maybe there's not this fade team, maybe that people thought early on. Maybe that fade team was going to be the Raiders. Maybe that fade team is Carolina, but maybe not now with the Andy Dalton change. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, Rich, that you could really think about this ending in December or something like that.
So, Derek, my husband and I are actually going to that Raiders-Panthers game later on this afternoon. We initially, preseason, wanted to go because he was thinking optimism about Carolina. Maybe things are going to turn around this year. Then after going 0-2, he said, you know what, we're not going anymore. I can't do it. They make the switch at quarterback to Andy Dalton. All of a sudden, he wants to go again. He feels rejuvenated that the Red Rocket is out there on the field. I don't know how to unpack this.
Well, I think that's a sentiment that's out there because Bryce Young's yards per pass attempt was so low that I think there's some newfound enthusiasm of bringing Andy Dalton back in just to mix things up. There's a pretty good report out today talking about how really the intent is to bring Bryce Young back after basically calling a timeout on his career to kind of restart things. So maybe that's the right move to do it. And I can see if you're a Carolina Panther fan, you got to love this move because you had to do something.
Derek, help me understand the line in the Rams and 49ers game. The injury report is amazing when you look at the 49ers situation with no Christian McCaffrey, no Deebo Samuel, George Kittle's out of the lineup. You look at the Rams and the production that Stafford's not going to have when you look at Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Just your thoughts on the line in that game. That's a hard one to try and get your arms around.
Yeah, it sure is. Rich, the injury reports are what dominated the money all week. Now, this is a game that you would have thought would have a massive amount of volume, but because of the injuries, they've kind of held back on really coming in with both fists here. Now we opened the line at 7 minus 115, went down to a 7, went to a 6.5. We're at a 6 right now. So we've been seeing Rams we've been seeing Rams money. In Circa Survivor, this was the team I was most surprised about. Not that there were a tremendous amount of selections, but there were 69 selections on the 49ers. And, with the ability to only choose a team once per year, I would think you would not want to use your 49ers selections when you don't have Kittle, when you don't have Debo, when Bosa's potentially not up to 100%, and without McCaffrey. So I was a little surprised at that. But so far it's been Rams money because of the I think it's more of an anti 49er play.
That was my thought with the 49ers, that's a team that's not full strength right now that I would like to save and use when they are full strength later on in the season. I went with the Browns for my last remaining entry. Still mad at you, Philadelphia and Nick Sirianni, for what you did to me on Monday night, so I only have one entry now instead of two. But can you lay out for us the top selections for Survivor this week and who people are kind of hoping loses and are rooting against this week?
Yeah, the top 5 selections for Circa Survivor. Number 1 was the Bengals, which makes sense. They're the largest point spread team. Although the Bengals have knocked a lot of people out this year, obviously no one that's taken them here. But that's about 25% of the pool. Number 2 was your selection, Cleveland Browns, at about 24% of the pool. Tampa Bay Buccaneers were third with 667 selections. Fourth was the Raiders, and then lastly, this is really the spot. 445 entries were in on the New York Jets. They are sitting in the locker room with their feet up, drinking mimosas, rooting for carnage right now.
Derek, nothing affects the line more than a quarterback injury. You look at the situation in Miami with Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins are just 1-4 without Tua in the lineup since Mike McDaniel became the head coach. Skylar Thompson made 3 starts in 2022. The results weren't good. Never an easy place to play on the road against the Seahawks. What's going on in that game?
Yeah, Rich, this one's a little curious. We opened Seahawks a 6. It immediately went to a 5.5, 5. 5's a slippery number. Went to 4.5. We're at a 4 right now. It's been all Dolphins money, and it's very, very it's very curious to me. In as much as the Dolphins have to travel all the way across the country, and you're right about the quarterback impact. I don't know there's any quarterback, any team that has a bigger quarterback impact than this particular team in the Dolphins. So to see the line continue to slip has been an interesting element to watch throughout the week here.
Derek Stevens, owner and CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, joining us live on the desk here on the Pro Football Tailgate Show. Let's keep going down the line of quarterbacks because we did find out a little bit ago Jordan Love is inactive for that game with the Packers and Titans, and it appears at least Justin Herbert is going to go for the Chargers today against the Steelers. What's the impact been from a betting standpoint?
From the betting standpoint, what we've seen in the Packers-Titans game with the Jordan Love announcement, nothing on the line, but we've seen the total tick down a little bit. So we were at a 38, we're down to 37. So we saw some under money that came in on that particular game, and then kind of interesting to see what happened with Herbert active. The Steelers went from 1.5 to 2.5. I think the way things played out in the warm up, there's still some speculation. They're going with 3 quarterbacks. Whether Justin Herbert plays the entire game or how effective he is really going to be the question. It's going to be a heck of a game.
A lot of action on that Ravens.
I'm sorry, I was going to say the Justin Herbert game, Steelers Chargers. This is a great game to in-game bet once you see how he moves in the pocket. Sorry, Rich, go ahead.
Great point.
No, let's talk about that Ravens Cowboys. A lot of eyeballs on this one. You look at the quarterback situation. I'm confused with Lamar Jackson. I mean, he played so well week 1, struggled a little bit, especially in the fourth quarter against the Raiders. But I do know this: he's never lost 3 consecutive regular season starts. Goes up against a Cowboys team that was embarrassed last week at home. Just your thoughts on this one? Where's the action at in the Ravens Cowboys game?
I think this is going to be one of the most heavily wagered games of the day. So far, there's been money coming in on the Ravens, but it's been a lot of really strong two-way action. I think when you see where we're at, we have the Ravens a 1. There's a chance we're going to be going to 1.5, not too far down the road. If you look at a DraftKings number, they're a 1, but it's juiced on the 12-cent side of things. So there's a little more Ravens money out there than Cowboys money. Now, the one thing we always know, there's always going to be Cowboys money that comes in. So a little bit later today, I expect something to show up at the counter.
So how about Circa Million? Last week we saw those consensus top 5 picks go 0-5 against the spread. Not ideal for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
What are the picks this week?
The top picks for the Circa Millions starts off Steelers are number 1.
Okay.
Titans, Ravens, Falcons, and Eagles. Those are the top 4 picks in the Circa Millions. Stormy, isn't that amazing to think about the fact that these consensus picks this year have been that bad through 2 weeks?
So, okay, genuine question, and don't judge me, but at what point, if it's this bad this early for some people, do you start just saying, okay, I've got to go for the booby now?
I think, we kind of talked about it this week. I think it's too early. It's still too early. You're only 2
Don't
weeks in.
overreact.
Yeah. I mean, I had a couple of people that said, they're 2-8. Should they go for the booby prize? It's a little too early. Too early. Derberfy came in and he jumped in on Twitter last night. He said, it's still too early.
Okay, that's good to know. We've only got about a minute left here with you, but I wanted to make sure we give credit where credit is due. This empathy package that you have done for people that have fallen out of Survivor early is unbelievable.
Well, we had to, we were planning on doing this on Saturday, and then Sunday morning hit, and oh my God, and then Monday night, watching this Monday night game. I mean, this Falcons game, it was as gut-wrenching a game as I could recollect, and that's what kind of put us over the edge. We had executive group text Monday night, and we implemented it on Tuesday. So we were happy to have everybody get knocked out of Survivor, Circa Survivor. Give them a little something. We'll give them a weekday package here in November, December.
It's awesome. I'm putting on a brave face, but I'm still physically ill from the result of that game. Derek, you're awesome. Thank you for hopping on with us as always.
All right, thanks. Have a good Sunday, everybody.
Yes, you too. That's Derek Stevens, everybody. Coming up on the VSiN Pro Football Tailgate Show, we're going to continue going through each and every game on the Sunday slate. Up next, Texans, Vikings, Steelers, Browns, Bucks, Broncos. We got everything coming at you next.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Coming up Monday on Follow the Money, a week left in the regular season in baseball. We recap a wild weekend, and how about a doubleheader Monday Night Football? Follow the Money weekdays 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
VSiN is thrilled to introduce a new VSiN.com tailor-made to the evolved needs of today's sports bettors. Our upgraded navigation streamlines your journey, allowing you to swiftly access articles, videos, and podcasts. Whether you're tuning in live or catching up on your favorite shows, everything is just a click away. VSiN.com guarantees a fluid and responsive experience across all devices, ensuring you stay connected wherever you are. We have enhanced tools such as our betting splits and expert picks, and introduce innovative features like parlay and odds calculators, all designed to make you a sharper bettor. Our How to Bet section is perfect for beginners, covering the fundamentals, while seasoned bettors can delve into our advanced betting strategies for the competitive edge you've been looking for. Sign up for free on VSiN.com or become a VSiN Pro subscriber, where you can unlock unlimited access to every tool, expert picks, and insight that make VSiN the sports betting network.
watching VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The countdown to kickoff continues as Week 3 NFL Sunday is upon us. Alongside Tim Murray in downtown Las Vegas at Circa Resort and Casino, as well as Rich Gannon, cross-country hanging out in Ocean City. I'm Stormy Bonantoni. We got lots to get to, in addition to line moves, going game by game, lots of injuries to make sure you're aware of as well before we get into these early 10 a.m. Pacific time games. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, let's just reiterating, Jordan Love, not a big surprise, but he kept trying to give it a go. He is officially out, so the Green Bay Packers will once again be starting Malik Willis as that line sits at 3 at most shops. Total has dipped down to 37 for Green Bay at the Tennessee Titans. Justin Herbert on the flip side, we were curious about his status. He is active today, but he will be without Joshua Palmer, one of his top targets there. So the Chargers will have Justin Herbert, a total of 35.5 and a spread there of 2.5. Russell Wilson officially inactive for this game. So yet again, as expected, it'll be Justin Fields. And good news for the Philadelphia Eagles as C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he is active as well. So keeping our eyes on some of the big actives, some of the players that we already know are out. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, of course, out for the San Francisco 49ers. Christian McCaffrey has been on the IR there. So a lot of injuries to note. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp out for the Los Angeles Rams.
And another good one to hit here as we start talking about the Texans and Vikings next. Joe Mixon did not travel to Minnesota. Yep. He's out for this game after getting injured on that hip drop tackle last week. And this is a fun one. Both teams, Rich, 2-0. Vikings, one of the more interesting surprise teams to open the season. The Texans were a 2-point favorite, but the Vikings getting a little bit of love here, down to 1.5, total 46. What do you think of this one?
Two very good teams early. The Houston Texans 2-0. Everyone else in the AFC South 0-2. I love C.J. Stroud, guys. We've been talking about just his maturity for a young quarterback. Just 5 interceptions last season. He hasn't thrown an interception in 7 straight starts. That'll be important today against the Viking defense that's been very aggressive under Brian Flores. Look what they've done the first couple weeks of the season. 11 sacks, 36 pressures, 19 hits on the quarterback. They're getting after these quarterbacks. And without Joe Mixon, for me, that's a big concern. Not just in terms of what he brings to the running game, but what he means in terms of pass protection, the ability to pick up those linebackers and corners and safeties off the edge in terms of pass protection. I love what I'm seeing from Sam Darnold. Keep your fingers crossed, Viking fans. He's taking care of the football. He's making good decisions. And the Vikings are playing well around him. We talked about the defense. They had 146 rushing yards last week. Love what I'm seeing with Aaron Jones. Justin Jefferson still making big plays. I kind of like the Vikings at home, as long as my guy Sam Darnold behaves himself.
Very teasable game, obviously. If you're into teasers, get this game up with the home dog up to 8 or 7.5, depending on what shop you're looking at. Mostly 2s across the board. Relatively high total, sitting there at 46.5. Cam Akers, who will be the starting back there for the Houston Texans, his over-under 57.5 rushing yards for Cam Akers with the injuries there in the backfield for Houston.
Fun fact here, the Vikings, 5-0 straight up and against the spread all time against the Texans. These are just those random stats that don't really make any sense for what these current teams are, but I still just find it interesting historically. Let's go to that Steelers-Chargers game, as you mentioned the injury update. So Justin Fields will start for Pittsburgh. That number has gone from 1.5 now to 2.5 with Justin Herbert. Yes, expected to go, but how will he perform with that high ankle sprain? Total down from 36 to 35.5. And I mean, that's the big question here, right? What's Justin Herbert going to look like, Rich?
Even with the banged up Justin Herbert, Stormy, I still like the Chargers. Look, they're averaging 10 more rushes per game this season and over 100 more rushing yards since Greg Roman became the offensive coordinator. We talked a lot about J.K. Dobbins and what he has done. They're just under 200 yards a game rushing. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're 2-0 despite scoring just one offensive touchdown. They're being so careful with Justin Fields. They know what the issues are. They've got to be able to run the football with those two backs. They've got to be able to play great defense. I think the difference in this game is the Chargers defense. You look at the Chargers, the number one scoring defense. They're giving up just 13 points a game. Pittsburgh's number 2 in scoring defense. But I'm going to go with the better quarterback. Even though Justin Herbert's not 100%, he's head and shoulders above what we'll see from Justin Fields today in Pittsburgh.
For the Pittsburgh Steelers, you mentioned the defense. They are 0-2 in totals, 2-0 to the under. by an average of 16 points per game, and that's why today you see the lowest total on the board is this Pittsburgh-LA game sitting at 35.5. So if you're like Rich, and I know people get tired of sometimes people talking teasers, but this is your classic teaser spot, right? 2.5. If you like the Chargers, you get them through 7, you get them through 3, you get them through 7, you get them up to 8.5 with the lowest total on the board. We saw this last week with the Denver Broncos, a 13-6 game. They didn't cover the spread, but they got there on the teaser leg on the lowest total on the board.
And for any of our new audience, if you don't know what a teaser is, the typical one is a 6-point teaser where you pair two teams together and you're able to move that spread 6 points in your favor one way or another. And so that's what he's saying here is that's a great teaser leg with the Los Angeles Chargers. I do have that one in pocket today, paired with the San Francisco 49ers, bringing them down just to win against the Los Angeles Rams. So hopefully that can come through for your girl. Let's go move. Oh, go ahead.
Real quickly, as you get into sports betting, make sure you look around. There's going to be different shops that don't want you to play teasers at their house. So make sure you're looking at a juice around minus 120. So, once again, 12 to win 10, 120 to win 100. Make sure you're looking at the juices that are out there because there are going to be some shops that are as high as minus 140 on that standard 2-team 6-point teaser.
And another good element to that, too, is we're talking about kind of price shopping. If you are somebody who's teasing some of those favorites down to just win a game, also compare that with what it would cost just to do a money line parlay for those two teams if that's the way you're pairing something up. So a little fun bet-education for us here today on the Pro Football Tailgate Show. Let's move ahead to the Bucs and Broncos. Tampa from a 6.5-point favorite now to 6 at home hosting Denver. The total down a tick from 41 to 40.5, Rich.
Yeah, Stormy, hot starts are nothing new for the Bucs. 4 straight year that they start 2-0. But they have lost 3 straight Week 3 games after starting 2-0, so that is a bit of a concern. Is this the upset special? I don't think so, because I have real concerns about this Denver offense. They can't score. They're averaging just 13 points a game. Bo Nix struggling. No touchdowns, 4 interceptions in his first 2 starts. And they're not playing well around him. They can't run the ball. And defensively, they get a lot of explosive plays. But I love what I'm seeing from Baker Mayfield. He's won 8 of his last 10 starts, throwing the ball really well down the field to Evans and Godwin. Keep an eye on the Denver Broncos, and just in terms of covering in this one. I'm not saying it's going to be an upset special, but Sean Payton is not asleep at the wheel. He's going to help this young quarterback against a very good Bucs defense.
Yeah, I would agree with Rich in this one. I think for me, looking at the points with Denver, you wonder Tampa Bay right now, people have seen how well they've played. Conversely, how much Denver has struggled. 81% of the bets right now at DraftKings are expecting Tampa Bay Buccaneers to cover. As Rich said, I don't think it's going to be that easy. I would look dog or pass in this particular game.
Okay, 2 games to me, Rich, that on the day are just going to be massive for our view of how we perceive certain teams. Saints-Eagles, are the Saints for real? Can the Eagles bounce back, get off the mat, and show what they're really made of with all of their talent? And then the second one, this Ravens-Cowboys game. And I know we've touched on it a lot, but after what happened to Dallas last week against the Saints, and the Ravens already being down 0-2 right now, it feels like a very uncomfortable spot for both of these teams. And Tim, you have something?
No. I was just saying, yeah. I mean, we've seen a little bit of line movement here, so Baltimore from a 1 to 1.5 point favorite here this morning.
Yeah, but Rich, let's get your thoughts on this game, because this is a huge one, I feel like, in the landscape of what we are seeing in the NFL.
Stormy, just think about it from this perspective. They've got Dak today. Next week, they've got Josh Allen. The following week, they've got Joe Burrow. I mean, you're facing Pro Bowl quarterbacks in each of the last 3 weeks. And here's the issue. They have the worst pass defense in football, and they've got a new defensive coordinator in Zach Orr. There have been some real growing pains with that Baltimore defense. Their offense hasn't been the issue. They're number 1 offense in football in terms of total offense, averaging 417 yards a game. But I still think they're trying to find their identity. You've got a great quarterback. You've got Derrick Henry. You've got 2 really good tight ends. You've got speed on the perimeter, and yet they really struggled in the second half last week against the Raiders. So they've got their issues, but the Cowboys have their issues as well. I hated what I saw from Mike Zimmer and his defense last week. They got punched in the mouth, and they didn't respond. This is going to be a great game. There's so much on the line in week 3. Ravens at Cowboys.
Yeah, so, I mean, you think about where these two teams are right now, and you saw our pro picks. A lot of disagreement out there. Yeah. Matt Humans and Michael Lombardi rolling with the Ravens, while you got Adam Shine taking the point with the Cowboys. As mentioned, a little bit of line movement here. No key numbers, but we did see a flip of favorites from earlier this week, and the hook has now arrived on that 1.5 with the Baltimore Ravens.
And, Rich, real quickly, 30 seconds, when you think about the way the Cowboys got run all over last weekend by Alvin Kamara, you have Derrick Henry and a mobile quarterback on the other side. How significant could that be for Baltimore?
Stormy, 432 yards of offense, but 190 of it came on the ground with Alvin Kamara and the Saints rushing attack. So that's a problem. And if you don't stop it early, you're going to see it all day long. I think this is going to be a heavy dose of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson with some of those RPOs. Curious to see if the Cowboys' run defense shows up in this one.
We will have to wait and see, but not too much longer. We are inching closer and closer to kickoff here for week 3 on this NFL Sunday. We're going to take a quick timeout. That music just telling me I gotta shut up. But when we return, more injuries to update you on, line moves ahead, games we like and have bets in pocket on. Get ready. It's the Pro Football Tailgate Show.
VSiN's got you covered for the start of the season with our football special. For $175, you'll get access to everything VSiN has to offer. With VSiN Pro, you'll receive daily picks straight to your inbox, detailed analysis on every game, and exclusive data like our betting splits to help you become a sharper bettor. Get all of this for just $175 through the Super Bowl. Or try a monthly subscription and get your first 30 days for only $9.99. Don't miss out on this offer. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe.
Don't wait until fall to start betting the NFL. Get a jump start now with the VSiN NFL Betting Guide and get prepared for this NFL season like never before. The guide has in-depth breakdowns for all 32 teams, best bets from our VSiN experts, playoff predictions, award market previews, and more. The guide is out now, and the only way to get it is to be a VSiN Pro subscriber. Head to VSiN.com/pro to sign up and join the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
You're watching VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We're getting you set for week 3 in the NFL, and nobody knows football like VSiN. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, for a limited time, you can get your first month of VSiN Pro for just $9.99. Sign up now. You'll gain instant access to our daily best bets with a leaderboard to see who has the best win percentage and ROI. 19 hours of live programming, including expert breakdowns and in-game analysis, proven betting systems from professional handicappers, and our exclusive betting splits updated with DraftKings odds every 5 minutes, so you can see the changes in action. Start a monthly subscription today. Again, you get your first month for just $9.99, or be more informed throughout the entire season with our football special, just $175. Don't miss out. This is a limited time offer. VSiN.com/subscribe is how you can sign up. That's VSIN.com/subscribe.
Stormy and Rich, Bears today are a 1.5-point underdog at Indianapolis. And an interesting thing just came across. Stacey Dales of NFL Network is reporting that Caleb Williams, Rich, for the first time this season, will be wearing a wristband. And Ian Rappaport elaborated and said, with the hopes of having a faster and cleaner operation. So what's your take on Caleb Williams, who did not have a play wristband games 1 and 2, now will be wearing that wristband today against Indianapolis?
Tim, it tells me that the Bears are having some communication issues. Calling the plays in the huddle is a problem for some young quarterbacks. So, Shane Waldron, the first 2 weeks of the season, he was calling the plays into the headset of Caleb Williams. So it would sound something like this. Hey, Caleb, here we go. You got zebra in the game. Give me double wing right. 2-jet flanker drive, halfback corner. Alert, 358X sluggo Z seam. Instead of hearing that today, he's going to hear, give me play 16. And so Caleb's going to look at his call sheet and he's going to call the play. So, look, he's not playing well. He's not processing the information quickly and efficiently at the line of scrimmage. And so they're trying to take some of that off him. But, this usually kind of backfires, in my opinion. Look, great quarterbacks. Tom Brady used one, but he kind of lived in that world. There's a lot of verbiage in Shane Waldron's offense right now, and I think it's too much for Caleb Williams. It's a big reason why they have struggled offensively the first 2 weeks of the season.
That's excellent insight, Rich. And you look at this Bears team who's getting 1.5 points in Indianapolis against a team that's got some quarterback struggles of their own already. Total 43 in that one. And I was just looking in the prop market for both of these young quarterbacks. For Anthony Richardson to throw a pick, -145. For Caleb Williams, -135. So the expectation is they're not going to take care of the football today either.
Yeah, Caleb
Williams.
Williams.
Keep this in mind. One offensive touchdown for the Bears in 23 possessions. Oof. No wonder they went to the wristband.
And yet they still covered against the Tennessee Titans in week 1.
Why you got to bring that up again, Tim?
I won't live it down. But Caleb Williams, by the way, over under 211.5 passing yards tonight, this afternoon, I should say. He had 93 against the Titans week 1, 174 week 2 against the Houston Texans. So the market has come down from their preseason expectations. By the way, also worth noting, he is no longer the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It is now a co-favorite situation with Marvin Harrison and Jaden Daniels. Caleb Williams has dropped down to +350 at DraftKings.
Rich, do you agree with that, or do you feel like for Offensive Rookie of the Year, because we do have these rookie quarterbacks, they'll eventually find their footing like C.J. Stroud, for example, did after the first couple of weeks?
Some quarterbacks do. I think C.J. Stroud, Stormy, was an exception last year. I mean, he really played well. I think the consistency week in and week out with C.J. Stroud was so impressive. He threw the ball 499 times and only threw 5 picks. A lot of those other young quarterbacks have struggled. And I look at Caleb Williams' issues. I look at Anthony Richardson's issues, having played only 4 games last year. He's gotten off to a rocky start. I'm worried about Bo Nix in Denver. I mean, no touchdowns and 4 interceptions through the first 2 weeks of the season. Sean Payton's never won a game with a rookie quarterback, and they're not good around him. That's why I really like the Bucs today. I mean, you look at that offense. It's 13 points a game, the Broncos, through the first 2 weeks of the season. Javonte Williams, 17 yards rushing on 11 carries. I mean, you can't win that way with a young quarterback. And so that's my concern. The offensive line isn't great. They're not playing well on the perimeter, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the young quarterback. They're asking him to throw it too much. And going up against a really good Tampa defense with Todd Bowles, they're going to come after him. And on the other side of it, I love what I'm seeing from Baker Mayfield. So you look at the The Survivor picks, I love the Buccaneers at home today against the Broncos.
It's interesting to note there is one shop here in town, the Westgate Superbook, that has now gone to 5.5. So they've gone off of 6 down to 5.5. So it does look like some sharp money is coming in on Tampa Bay. Most of the market still remains at 6. It was mostly 6.5 earlier this week, Stormy. So a little bit of money coming in on Denver, thinking that they can keep this close today against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And it's interesting, too, Rich, you talk about those interceptions, 4 for Bo Nix through the first couple of weeks here. He threw just 3 for the entirety of his senior season in college. He was the most efficient quarterback in all of the FBS last year. So a rough start for him in his rookie season, some uncharacteristic turnovers for somebody who was so good at it in the college
It's almost
game.
like every other coach in the entire league had a second-round grade on him, and yet one coach decided to draft him 12th overall.
Well, it's his guy.
Stormy, he had a better supporting cast last year at Oregon than he does right now at Denver. That's the difference.
As Sean Payne said, he didn't want to miss out on Bo Nix like he missed out on Patrick Mahomes.
He
Never
knew right
forget.
away as soon as he stepped foot in that practice session.
As soon as he opened his backpack and it had all
There it
football
is.
stuff in it. That's how that works. Okay, let's move it along here. Last week we talked about it a lot. Was a weekend for the dogs. They were barking something fierce. Tim, I'll start with you on this one. Who are some of the underdogs you think could get there and cover this weekend?
Carolina Panthers. Andy Dalton gets in as quarterback, and I think this is an upgrade at the quarterback position. Bryce Young, a guy that I thought would have a promising NFL career. It has not clicked down there. Dave Canales just a couple games in as the new head coach for Carolina. But I think catching 5.5. Look, I'm a big believer in letdown spots in college football, not so much in the NFL. They're pros. They know how to react. This is their job. They do this each and every week. That said, what a win it was to come back to beat Baltimore. Now you're at home. It's your home opener. I think Carolina should be more in that 3.5, 4-point underdog range. So I think Carolina catching 5.5 for me is a real intriguing play this afternoon here in Las Vegas.
How about you, Rich? Any dogs you think are going to be barking this afternoon?
And just to pay off what Tim said, Stormy, when you make a quarterback change, it sends a message to everybody in the building, especially the other players. Hey, they changed the quarterback. Maybe I'm next. And so everybody has to elevate their game. I think there's some confidence now with this offense. We've got a veteran quarterback that can get us in and out of the huddle. We got a veteran quarterback that can get us in and out of bad plays, that can change protections. A veteran quarterback that's played in 163 career games. A veteran quarterback that started a game last year and threw for over 300 yards. I think you're going to see more big plays. I think you're going to see a more aggressive approach offensively. I think you'll see more volume. And I think they'll be better on third down. And remember, the Raiders have their own issues. They can't run the ball. They've been relying on Gardner Minshew. And I just think that this game is going to be a lot closer. I think when you make the change at quarterback, I think you're going to see a team respond. I still like the Raiders to win at home, but I like the Panthers to cover in this one.
I'm just hoping that when I'm at the game later on this
you're
afternoon,
going?
Yes, I'm going. My husband is a Carolina Panthers fan, no matter how rough it has been over the last couple of years. He said that he is just hoping Andy Dalton gets off to a good start so he doesn't have to go purchase a paper bag to put over his head. So
Hey,
that's the world we're living
My
in.
ginger brother will step up, and he will take care of
Red
business
Racket.
today.
Let's go. One underdog, Rich, I know you do not have any interest in tonight, is the Los Angeles Rams. You love you some 49ers today. Why?
I really do. Look, we talked a lot about the injury situation. I'm concerned for both teams, but I'm even more concerned for Matthew Stafford. They're not running the ball with Kyron Williams. He's averaging 2.5 yards a rush. No Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua, Higbee. I mean, they're so banged up right now on offense. And Matthew Stafford doesn't have great escapability. He's not going to be able to create and manufacture a lot of plays on his own. And the other thing, you look at the San Francisco 49ers, they have the better defense, right? They've got Fred Warner. They've got Boza. They've got some guys that can be very disruptive with the pass rush. And on offense, they've got Jordan Mason. I know you're missing CMC, but you've got Mason who's rushed for 100 yards in each of the last 2 games. And you've got the best blocking perimeter in the group in the league. Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk. Watch these guys block today in the running game. George Kittle's a big miss as well. However, Brock Purdy is the guy that can steady the ship for them offensively. I think they'll run the ball. I think they'll play well defensively. I really like the Niners to cover on the road.
Yeah, San Francisco looking to bounce back after that tough loss against the Minnesota Vikings. The Rams, meanwhile, 0-2 straight up and against the spread. Sean McVay actually said that it reminds him a little bit of the start to that post-Super Bowl season where all of the injuries were just taking over their roster. And that was a 5-win team. You're hoping it's not too similar to that.
Earlier in the show, we had John Hansen on, the Fantasy Guru, Prop Points. Check it out every weekday here at 2 p.m. Eastern. And John was a big believer in Brandon Ayuk today, stepping up. All of the offseason stuff, put it in the past. He signed his deal over under 75.5 receiving yards. And you would imagine Brock Purdy could be looking to Ayuk early and often with Kittle, Debo, and CMC all being out today.
And Tim, as you saw that expert picks graphic up there, that seemed to be the way most of our experts leaned. It was San Francisco, it was Brock Purdy over, it was Brandon Ayuk over. So we'll see how that transpires. Also, just real quickly before we hit the break, a reminder to anybody who hasn't seen it, Jordan Love is officially ruled inactive for that Packers-Titans game coming up today. We still don't know firmly on Justin Herbert. The expectation is, though, he's going to play and push through the high ankle sprain as the Chargers take on a tough defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Tennessee now a flat 3 pretty much everywhere out there in the market with the official news that Jordan Love is out. So Tennessee laying 3 against Malik Willis and the Packers.
We're 20 minutes from kickoff. You know what that means? We're running the board next, hitting on each and every game on the NFL slate, getting Rich Gannon's instant analysis. Don't go anywhere on the Pro Football Tailgate Show.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater, built for the ultimate sports fan, with a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
Looking for the ultimate sports betting podcasts? VSiN has got you covered. With a wide range of podcasts covering every major sport, we're here to help you make smarter bets every season. The Baseball Betting Show with Greg Peterson gives you daily insights into finding value on each day's MLB card. And check out Long Shots, where we deep dive into the world of golf betting, providing you with expert insights to help you bet every tournament. Find all of these podcasts and more at VSiN.com/podcasts or your favorite podcast platform.
watching VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's just about that time for kickoff. Rich Gannon, Stormy Bonatoni, Tim Murray with you as we close out the show. Thanks for hanging out with us all day. By the way, on YouTube TV, iHeartRadio, the iHeartRadio app, you can even tell your Alexa, play VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show on VSiN right now, and she'll do it. Alexa's amazing. Also,
she's a good listener.
If you have NFL Sunday Ticket, remember you also get to watch us on YouTube for free. So welcome if this is your first time. But it is time for what we're calling game time decisions. We are going to run the board, hit on as many games as humanly possible these last 12 minutes to get you set for the action today. Run the music and let's go here, Rich. Starting with New Orleans and Philadelphia. Is this Saints team for real? What do you like?
Absolutely. The scoring machine, 91 points the first two games. Card and Kamara are on a roll right now. I'm concerned about Philly. Real issues without a healthy A.J. Brown in the lineup. The pass defense is a problem right now. They're 31st against the pass. They can't get off the field on third down. I really like the Saints at home.
Look-ahead line in this game was 3.5 in favor of the Eagles. Now 2.5 in favor of the Saints. Good news for the Eagles on the injury front. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was listed as questionable, Stormy, is going to play this afternoon.
Still no A.J. Brown, though, unfortunately, for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, let's go to the Giants and Cleveland Browns here, Rich. I've got the Browns in Survivor. Am I silly for this? They're laying 6.5, hosting Daniel Jones and company, total 38.
No, Stormy, I love it. Look, the Daniel Jones has lost 6 straight games. The G-men are having a difficult time scoring points, just 15 points a game. Cleveland defense always tough at home. They're giving up 220 yards a game under Jim Schwartz at home. It's going to be a tough day for the Giants.
Browns have 24% of the remaining Circa Survivor entries, so you're not alone. 931 brave souls with you.
But the good news is they're not the number one selection, which
true.
has been knocked out each of the first 2 weeks. So you're telling me there's a chance. How about this Green Bay Tennessee Titans game? We know Jordan Love officially inactive for the Green Bay Packers. It will be Malik Willis as his team is getting 3 points on the road in Tennessee. But will Will Levis screw it up?
Well, it's a good chance. Look, I think we got to start with Green Bay. They're going to want to run the ball again with Malik Willis. Willis returns to his former team, the Tennessee Titans. They're going to have a much more difficult time against this Tennessee defense. They lead the league in total defense. They've been playing well. The special teams have been the issue, and Will Levis has been the issue. 5 turnovers. I worry about the Titans at home.
What is the old saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. What's it? Fool me 3 times. Because I'm back on the Titans, baby. 0 for 2 betting on these Titans. And Will Levis and his mayonnaise-eating self. I'm taking the Titans. Come on, baby.
It's like when our great president said. It's
Brian Callahan's going to be looking at me saying, what the bleep are you doing when I bet the Titans again? But I'm in again.
Fool me 3 times. Don't fool me in. Isn't it something along those lines,
sure.
Right? How about a couple of young quarterbacks going head-to-head? The rookie, Caleb Williams, having a wristband on today for the first time, which I know, Rich, you said is not a good sign in Indy. Taking on the Colts and Anthony Richardson looking to bounce back from a rough Week 2. The Colts are laying 1.5 points, total 43 this afternoon.
Yeah, 2 teams that are struggling really because of their young quarterbacks. You look at the Chicago offense, just 1 touchdown in 23 possessions. I like Chicago, and the reason why is I think the Colts are having problems on both sides of the ball. Their young quarterback, Anthony Richardson, completing a league low 49% of his passes. And what happened last week in Green Bay to that Indianapolis run defense was atrocious. The Bears have the better defense. I like Chicago.
I really like the tease-up dogs, and I think that the Chicago Bears are a good teaser leg today. Total of 43.5, tease up 1.5 to 7.5. I think Chicago, a very good teaser leg here today. With that wristband, I'll be wearing the wristband too.
Play 16, Caleb Williams. We got the battle of the undefeateds between the Houston Texans and Minnesota Vikings. No Joe Mixon for Houston. He will be out after getting injured on that hip drop tackle last week. But the Vikings, one of the more interesting surprise teams of this early season. How will C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, and company take on this Vikings secondary that looks much improved, Rich?
Yeah, 2-2-0 teams. This really boils down to who do you trust more, right? C.J. Stroud, who doesn't turn the ball over, 7 straight games without an interception, and Sam Darnold. Although he's behaved himself, guys, the first 2 weeks, he has a history of poor decision-making and ball security. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans.
This was a 4-point spread in the look-ahead line, now down to 2. Touched 1.5 earlier this week. The good news here, Justin Jefferson is active, so positive news there as one of the best wide receivers in the league is going to play.
Yeah, I was dealing with a quad contusion. His receiving yards today, by the way, 79.5. He went over that on 1 touchdown catch last week against the 49ers. Justin Herbert dealing with a high ankle sprain. He's going to go for the Los Angeles Chargers, who are getting 3 against a stout Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Total in this one, the lowest on the board at 36 today, Rich.
Yeah, 2 teams that are very similar, right? You have these 2 tough head coaches. You've got 2 teams that want to run the football, that can run the football. You've got 2 teams that play really good defense. The Chargers are number 1 in scoring defense. Pittsburgh Steelers number 2 in scoring defense right now. I like the fact that Justin Fields hasn't turned the ball over the first 2 weeks. He only threw it 20 times last week. But it boils down to who do you trust more? And even with a bum ankle, give me Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
J.K. Dobbins over $130 in both of the games this year. His number right now, 55.5 at DraftKings for rushing yards. So if you think he keeps rolling there, he's had some big runs. A 61-yarder week 1 against the Raiders, 43-yarder last week against the Panthers. 55.5 is his over-under at DraftKings.
And hey, what do we know about Jim Harbaugh? He believes in an offense to run the rock. So there we go. I would expect more of that. How about Denver, Tampa, Rich? I know you have strong feelings in this one. The Bucs laying 6 at home, total 40.5.
Yeah, look, when a team is having a difficult time making first downs and scoring points, then I always go take the other team. And I think you look at Baker Mayfield, what they've done. That win last week on the road against Detroit was impressive. They didn't put up big numbers, but they made the plays when they had to on both sides of the ball. Their red zone defense was phenomenal last week. Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, give me Mayfield and the Bucs.
Hold your nose. I took the Broncos in Circa Million. 6.5, baby. What could go wrong trusting a terrible rookie quarterback in Bo Nix?
Of course you did. Miami taking a little bit of money today despite starting Skylar Thompson for the first time this season, as Tua Tagovailoa is on the injured reserve list. The spread is 4, total 42 against the Seattle Seahawks.
The Dolphins aren't very good without Tua Tagovailoa. Just 1-4 under Mike McDaniel, and how this affects the rest of the offense. Look at the numbers today for Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They're going to be significantly impacted by the fact that Skylar Thompson's throwing the ball and not Tua Tagovailoa. On the other side of it, look, it's week to week with Geno Smith. It's week to week in the NFL, but I love what I saw from him last week. Put up some big numbers, 33 completions in the overtime win against the New England Patriots. I like the Seahawks at home.
Clearly, the market thought this was an overreaction. Opened 6.5, Stormy, now down 4 market-wide. So a little bit of money, as you alluded to, has been coming in here on the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson at QB.
Battle in the NFC West to see who can field more players today, apparently. The San Francisco 49ers, no Christian McCaffrey, no Deebo Samuel, no George Kittle, but the Rams even more beleaguered. They're going to be down a couple starting offensive linemen once again. Puka Nacua is gone. Cooper Kupp dinged up himself. 6-point spread in this one, total 44.5 with the Niners and Rams.
Stormy, I don't remember a game this early in the season without so many key players at running back and tight end and wide receiver missing from the game. But this really boils down to 2 things for me. Which team can run the ball better? That's the 49ers with Jordan Mason. And which team has the better defense? It's not even close. I really love the San Francisco 49ers as the road team.
And the little bro, big bro situation, Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay. Always fun to see those two go head-to-head.
Shanahan, significantly better record in this series to this
10-5.
We'll stick with the NFC West. The Arizona Cardinals, a 3-point dog at home to the Detroit Lions. High total, 51.5. And I know lots of people like the over. They think there will be points. What do you say, Rich Gannon?
Look, I just look at the game. I think it was a big mistake last week from the Lions coaching staff. Dan Campbell did not do a very good job. They had Jared Goff throw the ball 55 times. Why would you ever do that when you've got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery? They're going to try and run the ball. They're going to try and keep Kyler Murray and that Arizona Cardinals offense off the field. Kyler Murray had a perfect passer rating last week. That won't be the case today against a much better Detroit defense.
You mentioned the total, Stormy, 51.5, highest total on the board. 71% of bets, 79% of the money over on our betting splits on VSiN.com on the over in this Lions-Cardinals game.
And if you're not a subscriber yet, this is what we're talking about. This is the info you get. VSiN.com/subscribe. Awesome show as always, gentlemen. This was a blast. Get ready for kickoff. Cash some tickets. He's Rich Gannon. He's Tim Murray. I'm Stormy Bonatoni. Thanks for hanging out with us today, but stick around on VSiN because coming up next, Live Bet Sunday. Whether you already have tickets in hand, you're looking for in-game opportunities. We've got you covered 7 straight hours of live NFL coverage. Then stick around after that. Ready, set, bet. Matt Brown and Mike Somich got you covered at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by Cashing Out. It is a locked and loaded NFL Sunday. You won't want to miss a minute of it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you next week. Same time, same place.
Don't wait until fall to start betting the NFL. Get a jump start now with the VSiN